What's up gamers, my name is ThatJack, and welcome back to Geometry Dash. Today I'm going to finish the desert level that I started last episode, and I'm going to show you how to make a background and foreground in 2.2. So let's get right to it, but first make sure you like and subscribe so that I can make more videos like this one, and only 3% of the people watching are subscribed. Can you believe it, guys? Only 3%? That's crazy. So I still think the ground is a bit basic. I think I'm going to end up adding some more layers to it in the final level. But for now it's a pretty good start. So now we can get started on something else, maybe the background. One thing I want to add first though is just some orb decoration on these two pink orbs. I think something simple, just that should be pretty good. Just helps the orbs stand out a bit more on this bright background. Okay, so now I need to actually work on the background because at the moment the level is pretty flat. I think we should do a background and a foreground for this part, and they could be pretty similar, but I think for a pixel style level like this, that has lots of details, we want quite a few like layers. So I'm thinking like there'll be like some mountains in the background that are farther away, and then some like other layers of ground, and maybe you can see some like of these pillars on it. And then there'll be like a foreground layer somewhere here that maybe has like some rocks on it or something. So to make that, I'm just going to copy some of the objects from the ground and I'll put them on a new layer. I don't want the ground to be really that flat because this is supposed to be in the background, it's going to be further away, so it would make more sense for you to see more hills than you would up close. So now I've finished making this like hilly background piece, and I've put the highlight blocks only on some objects, just the same that I did with the ground here, just so there's a tiny bit of variation, even though most people probably won't notice it. Okay, so now I have changed the Z ordering so that it's all behind everything, and then I just went into the HSV here and turned the brightness down for both colors to times 0.70, so now it is darker than the ground, so it's a bit more clear that it's in the background. And I'm going to copy paste this here so that it connects up, and maybe one more time, and I'm going to link one of them so that we know what the loop looks like, because I designed these so that they start and end at the same like grid space here, so you can copy paste them right next to each other and they look fine. One thing we might need is a bit more ground objects. Okay, so now I can give this a new group, which is going to be 20, and I think I'm going to scale it down to 0.70. That's the same as the color. Now something has happened there. Was that because of the scaling? Yes, it was. So that's kind of odd. Okay, so maybe we don't scale it. So I want this to be placed somewhere like that. And this is group 20. And now we're going to set group 20 to lock to the camera position. And here's a tip for you. The ground layer where the player is doesn't move. So it's basically like it's locked on the camera at 0. The closer we make this background number to 0, the closer it is to the ground layer. And the closer it is to 1, the further it appears to be. So this is still pretty visible. You can still see the details of the rocks and stuff, so I don't think it would be that far away. So maybe something like 0.4. And make sure you actually set it to move with the player for at least some amount of time. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, we probably don't need this much background. Okay, maybe we need a little bit more. Now for the foreground, we can take this background piece and we can put this on layer 10. So 11, just going to give it the new group, which is going to be 21, 12, and we can layer it again. I'm going to give it T3 with the highlights. That's supposed to be 11. The highlights will be on T4. And now we do the opposite of what we did with the background. We're going to turn the brightness up. And I also want to desaturate it a bit. So if we remember 0.36 and 0.78, copy it for the next color, so something like that. And if we do this, it looks too much like the background, so I'm just going to reverse it, and now it looks fine. We do want to watch out for something like this. The gameplay kind of goes downwards, so I think I'm actually going to delete this part of the background and make it a bit more flat here. So now this new ground will gradually slope downwards, and we already have it on 21. If you want to make a foreground, it's very simple, the movement trigger now. You just lock it to the camera X, and where a background, we put it on the positive side. For a foreground, you just put it on the negative side. And now it'll move faster than the camera and give the illusion that it's closer. So this one, it moves forward a bit before the level starts, and you can see the end, so I'm just going to move it over. So now, I know you can see the bottom of the background, but because this is supposed to be a cave that you enter, I'm going to have some kind of wall behind here that will hide it. And then eventually, once you go into the ship portal, this background, this group 20, will be toggled off, since you won't need to see it anymore. Somewhere like that should be fine. Now the foreground also has the issue of ending too quickly. This is because foregrounds move faster than backgrounds and faster than the level, so if you make a foreground, you're usually going to need to extend it past the part. Now one thing I want to do is I think the foreground moves a little bit too quickly, so we're going to put it close to 0 so that it moves slower. Maybe not that slow, maybe closer to 0.2. And another thing I want to do is have the foreground slope down like this for the end of the level. Okay, so when playtesting the level, I noticed the issue that the background moves forward, and now we can see the end of it. Oh my god, I'm bad at the game. Forget about that. So I'm going to do the same thing as with the foreground. I'm just going to move it back. So now it moves forward, but we can hide that. Nice. So if you want to hide that the background moves forward that much at the beginning of the level, what you can do is you can just put like a little level entrance animation. So you could do something like have this lens circle. We're just going to put it on 0 size and 0 fade time. So now the level's like completely black. I can't see. Preview shaders off. Okay, now we can see. And we want it to open up like this. So just increase the size and keep everything else the same. Except for the fade time, make sure the fade time is high so that you can actually... The fade time is basically just how long the effect takes to switch from whatever the last one was, which the last one is just a black screen. So now this is like the move time on a move trigger. I think we can do something like exponential in. So now when we play the level, you won't see the background move. Nice. And so I think we could add a little bit more to the background in terms of details. Just something like what we did to the foreground, just add scattered rocks, maybe some grass, but make sure that you copy the HSV values over. So the background, everything has to be times 0.70 brightness, and then the foreground, it has to be times 0.78 and times 1.36. Those don't have to be the exact numbers. You can use whatever you want. I would just recommend making the background darker and the foreground brighter. But make sure that any object you add to the background uses the background colors, and every object that you put in the foreground, you use the foreground colors. Now the last thing this part needs is some air deco. You should try and keep this pretty simple design-wise, so that it doesn't clutter the decoration that we added. But you can add little animations and stuff which will look cool, just like what I did with these indicators. Oh man, look at that animation. It's spinning and stuff, you know? Yeah. Wait, one thing I do want to add is, in my last level, Factoria, I had this blast furnace part that I made. And in the level, it has this wavy line effect. Kind of like when it's like when something's hot and you see like the lines that go like woo 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 woo, you know? No? Okay, well I'm gonna copy this effect from the level, and as long as I could find the shaders. Oh, it's here. So it's pretty much just this. It's just a shock line that moves very slowly. Feel free to screenshot or something. I don't know, I'm probably just gonna add this to my custom objects. You can also just copy the level and add it to your custom objects if you want. I keep very important things in here like the Doritos. So now that I have this, we can add it to the level to make it hot, I guess. So now the level will be wavy, like it's hot outside, you know? We're in the desert, yeah. And so this will last an amount of time, but basically just when it stops, you can just add another one. So maybe we need like 3 or something. Now the level's like wiggly, you know? And maybe we don't want to continue the effect for the whole level, but just that outside part, because after this it's inside, and then it's probably, you know, shady and cooler from there. I think we can do something cool with this. Well, what color are these? Color 26. Okay, let's use color 26 again. So I'm just gonna get this arrow, then maybe we can add like a shine to it, like the sun, because you're in the desert. Then maybe we can add like, I don't know what I'm doing. Then maybe we add this like big guy over here. What I like to do is I will copy and paste like 3 of them on top of each other, so now it's solid. And then we can change the rotation to something like that. So now it doesn't seem like transparent. Like these ones are like always transparent. So now this is a pretty big guy. Like that's a big arrow. So now we can like we can remove the outside spinny things if we want, but now we can just like copy paste this a couple times around. Oh yeah, you gotta go down unless you got that key, then you get the coin. I don't really know what I'm saying in these videos anymore. I've been recording for a few hours now. I say that actually I've only been recording a half hour today. I did the rest of the level yesterday, so it hasn't even been that long. Maybe I'm just weird. Okay, so that's a few arrows there. That looks pretty cool, except maybe this one needs to be centered a bit more. Maybe even over here. Yeah, that looks better probably. Maybe we want to say like, oh yeah, you gotta go up, because there's a coin in here. Okay, I've changed my mind. Sometimes it's better to just have it more simple. Sometimes you don't need a complex design. And I mean, even though what I made was only 2 extra objects, just removing those 2 extra objects and just keeping it like this ended up making it look way better. So that's a good tip if you're ever trying to make a level. I don't know. Here's another good tip. I think maybe there's too much space between these the rotating things and the arrow. So I'm just gonna scale them down. If you hit this this lock, they'll all scale like you selected just these objects together. So like that. So now we can space it out on that one, and it'll be the same for all of those. Yeah, so maybe that's a bit better. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it's like the full part finished. Only things maybe we could add is an extra background layer that's just like simple, like just take these slope things and just make like some mountains and then put them in the background, and then maybe add some like rock details to the background as like boulders, and then maybe some like plants to the foreground. That's all I would probably do. I say probably. I'll probably finish this level at some point. But yeah, this has been my pixel style tutorial. I honestly think this turned out really nice. Originally I had other ideas for like a pixel style level. I was going to do a sky castle level with the song Sky Fortress by Waterflame, since that was an idea that I had and I thought it was cool. But I think this turned out really nice with I really like the flowers and the plants and stuff. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later.